So a couple catching up on demand today. Perfect. So hello guys, happy Easter. I hope you are not as full, well, I hope you are as full of chocolate as I am. If at any point we're upside down today and you feel a bit sick, just come out of it. That's completely fine. In terms of what you need today, grab yourself a cushion. Make sure you've got some sort of strap, so either a yoga strap or a long resistance band or a dressing gown tie or a pair of tights, anything like that. And then also just make sure you've got some water as well. If you have a foam roller, give me a wave. Don't stress if you don't have a foam roller. You do. Okay, we've got one foam roller. Fab. Okay, I will give a few options with the foam roller this evening. But I know you guys have kind of let me know balls of feet, calves, Achilles, knees, shoulders, legs in general. We're falling apart, guys. So we better get cracking. So when you are ready, pop those playlists on from the beginning if you're using them. And we are going to get straight into today's stretching. So we've got a 45-minute class today, and we're just going to be working through all those areas you guys mentioned and also a few others as well. So grab your cushion, come down to seated for me. And we're going to sit today with the legs out in front of us to begin with, rather than crossed. Now, you may need a slight bend in the knee. I certainly do today because my legs are quite tight, but that is absolutely fine if you do. Now, I'm just going to spin around to the side so you guys can see. We're going to start today with just some really simple flexion of the feet, forwards and backwards. So all we're going to do is sit upright, nice and straight, and point the toes and then flex them back the other way. So what we're doing here is we're just stretching out the shins, followed by a stretch of the calf. So you should feel a nice stretch down your shins and down the top of your feet once the feet are pointed. And then as you flex them, you should feel a nice stretch down the arch of your foot and also through the calves as well. Now, for a bit more comfort, you can pop your hands down behind you. And we're just going to work through these for about 90 seconds. And each time you hit one of the positions, either flexed or stretched, just hold there for about 10 seconds, taking some nice deep breaths in the nose and out the mouth, and move slowly to the next position. Now, if you did ballet when you were very younger, I mean, I'm talking about 20 years ago for me, you might remember this as good toes, naughty toes. So it's very good for runners as well. Who knew? Now, hopefully this is going to help the balls of the feet for those of you who mentioned they were feeling a little bit tight. And when you point, that's going to help those tops of the feet as well. So keeping working through these. And if you find that when your toes are pointed, that's a little bit more tight, then feel free to hold there for a little bit longer. Or if when your feet are flexed, that's a little bit tighter, then hold it there for a little bit longer. Good work, guys. Just going to work through 4 more reps together at your own pace. 1 point, 1 flex, 1 point, 1 flex. And then we're going to move to our next stretch. Now, this is also just going to mobilize those ankles a little bit for us. But the next thing we are going to do is tuck that left foot under. And then we're going to bring the right leg up into our hand. And we're just going to move through some really slow ankle rotations. So going clockwise to begin with the right foot. We're going to work through quite a lot of lower leg stretching today. And it's an area where we have quite little mobility normally. So just making sure that we've got a bit of warmth in these joints first is going to really help us. And when you're ready, anti-clockwise with the right foot, back the other way. Want to be doing about 5 circles each way. Doesn't matter if it's a few more or 1 less, but just try and extend that range of motion as much as you can. And don't worry if you hear a few crackles, snaps and pops, that's fine. When you're done, pop that right foot down, lift that left foot up, and we're starting anti-clockwise with the left foot, 5 circles. Ooh, my left foot's very tight. And this is another opportunity to get those flexions and points in as well. So remember those as you go around. Well done, guys. And when you've reached your 5, we're going back clockwise. Nice. Now you'll notice that you have more flexibility, more range of motion, perhaps clockwise than you do anti-clockwise or vice versa. That's completely normal, but these exercises that we're doing here, whilst they're great for stretching, they're also great for kind of improving your range of motion as well. So these are great to add in anytime you can in your routine. Perfect. And give those ankles a shake out for me. Pop them back down to the floor, and we're going to come to a legs crossed position. Now, as I always say, cross the legs the opposite way to the way you feel you should. Nice. And we're going to go through a little bit of upper back stretching to begin with. So we've done our cat cows before on the floor, but we're just going to do them in a seated position. So breathing in, going to round through the shoulders, bring the chin back, round the back through, and breathing out, shoulders come together at the back, arching the spine and looking up to the ceiling and back the other way. Now, as we work through a few more of these at our own pace, you should find yourself opening up just a little bit more. Well done, guys. Remember, keep that breathing nice and relaxed. That fresh oxygen is what helps to stretch out those muscles and relax them. Well done. And just 2 more, 1 curve and 1 arch. And when you're ready, coming back to a neutral position. And we're just going to move into a few neck rotations. So quite simply, bring the head to the left, tucking the chin, chin down to the chest, round to the right, up to the sky, and just flowing round. Now, when you hit the bottom, you should feel the tops of the shoulders and the mid-back stretching out. And when you hit either side, you should feel the opposite shoulder stretching out as well. Again, this is a great one if you're working at home at the moment, even if you're actually working in the office, just try and work through this occasionally during your day and back the other way. Just allowing you to stretch out that neck. And whilst it won't fully stop tension building up, hopefully it might reduce it just a little or keep on top of it. Oh, I'm certainly very tense. Well done. And just 1 more circle. Great work, guys. And give those shoulders a nice shake off. Now, taking that cushion from out under the bum, you're going to tuck it under the knees instead. And we're going to come into our first stretch. So taking the left leg forwards in front of you. First off, we're just going to work into this hip area. So wherever you've taken your left foot out, just heel toe it another couple of inches out to the side. And then we're going to lunge over. Now, forget everything everyone ever taught you about the knees not going over the toes. Right now, we do want them to go as far forwards as we can. And this should open up that groin really nicely. And just do some bouncing into this position. And that's just really going to help stretch through that groin and increase our mobility for today's session. And when you're ready, pop the right hand down to the floor, left hand rotates up, and we're just stretching through the back, through the hip. Bring the elbow down to the floor, stretch out through the groin, and back open again. Well done, guys. So when the arm comes down, it comes down at a 90-degree angle. We're trying to get that elbow to touch the inside of the left foot. And then we're opening back up. Now you should start to feel this. Ooh, nicely opening those hips up. Well done, Jenna. Good work. And bringing the hand back to the floor, tuck the toes on the right foot, bring the left foot back to meet it, toes tucked, and push yourself up into our downward dog. Now, you won't find yet, or you might if you're very flexible, that you can straighten your legs. So pedaling them out is absolutely fine. We're just going to spend about 45 seconds here, pedaling through from left to right and feeling a nice deep stretch down the backs of those hamstrings. If your run today, if you've been out, was hilly, perhaps, then this is definitely going to feel tight. Well done, guys. Keep it going. And just keep that breathing going as well. Perfect. And when you're ready, just bring those knees back down onto the cushion. Step the right foot forwards. Heel toe it out, another couple of inches to the side, and lunging again into that groin. We're just going to bounce through and start to open that up. Well done. Great work, guys. Now you might feel a little bit of a stretch down the front of the back quad as well, the front of the leg. That's absolutely fine. Doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just means you're a little bit tight there. Not an issue at all. Nice. And when we're ready, we're going to bring that left hand down to the floor. The right arm rotates open and round. Then we bring the elbow down to the inside of the right foot and rotate back up. And just working through these reps as we did on the left-hand side at your own pace, however deep you need them to be. Perhaps you only need to bring the elbow down to knee height. Perhaps it's coming down to mid-calf. Perhaps it's coming all the way down to the floor. Wherever it is, that is absolutely fine. And again, if you hear any crackles or pops, don't stress. My hip is definitely popping. Well done. And last one, stretching open. Hand comes back down, tuck the toes, and lifting up into our downward dog again, pedaling those feet out once more. I'm just going to come check how we are doing. Great downward dog, Eleanor. Nice. Keep those legs pedaling. Nice. Well done, Gemma. Keep it going. And if you can, lower those heels both to the floor for me, pushing that bum up to the sky. Don't worry if you need to have a slight bend in the knees, but try and get those heels flat. Straighten those legs out as much as you can. And we're just going to stay in this deep hamstring and calf stretch for 30 seconds. And with every exhale, see if you can increase the height of your bum just a little bit. Deepening that stretch as we go. Well done, guys. And on your next exhale, bring that bum a little bit higher. And we're coming out, knees back down to our cushion, sitting up, and grab yourself a little sip of water. Well done, guys. Okay, next up, we're going to move on to stretching out those quads. So again, we're going to come forwards. I'm going to actually start with the other leg. So let's bring the right leg forwards, just so that you guys can see properly. And now we're going to turn round behind, bring the left foot up into the hand. Option, add in the right hand as well if you need. And bring that foot slowly in towards the glute. Now you might need to move that front foot around to find your stable position. That's fine. Or alternatively, if you do have a band, you can grab that and create a little loop to bring that leg up and help you along the way. Any of those options are all good. And now you should feel a nice stretch here down the side, down the front of the quad. We're also going to work through the IT band today. So someone mentioned that they were having a little bit of pain in the knee area. So hopefully this is going to help with that. Now, when it comes to pain in the knee, that's likely not caused by an issue at the knee. It's likely caused by muscular tightness in the muscles that link into the knee joint. So that is things like our quad, our hamstring if it's in the back of the knee, our calf if it's in the back of the knee, lots of different muscles that we can stretch out to hopefully relax off any pain. And when you're ready, letting that left foot go back down to the floor, swap your right knee onto the cushion, left foot comes in front, twisting and bringing that right leg into the glute. Remember, option to use your band as a little bit of a mechanism to help you here. And don't worry if your foot is down here, that's fine. We're all different levels of flexibility and different levels of tightness. That is absolutely a-okay. And if you wobble, just bring yourself back into the position. Well done, Eleanor. Good use of the bat. Nice work. Feel a little bit tight in there today. Well done, guys. I'm just going to stay here for about another 20 or so seconds. Now, when it comes to our stretching, post-run, the reason why we hold these stretches for a longer duration is because that's how we lengthen the muscle back out and also improve the length for future as well. If you're putting any of these stretches in at the end of your runs, try and repeat them 2 to 3 times each side if you're using them as a general post-run stretch, and hold them for at least 20 to 30 seconds. And if you're using them for a session like this, holding for at least 30 seconds and using those exhale breaths to increase the depth of the stretch. Nice work. And letting go of that back leg, bring the left leg to join, slide the cushion out, widen the knees, and we're going to lean forwards into our child's pose. Forehead rests on the mat, thumb back onto the heels, and stretching those fingertips as far away as you can. Now, think about where those shoulders are. Are they up by your ears? Is there tension there? On your next exhale, bring those shoulders down, and you should start to feel more of a stretch through the shoulders, through the tops of the arms, and into the back as well. Now, from child's pose today, we're going to be working through a few rotations. For those of you who've been having tightness in the back, these are going to work really well. I'm just going to stay here for another 15, and then we'll move into those. Remember, sending that bum back onto the heels as much as you can. And when you're ready, we're going to get our right arm, we're going to tuck it under the left, and we're going to come into a rotation. So that right shoulder ends up on the floor, and you're looking towards your left-hand side. And you should feel a nice stretch all down the right shoulder blade, through the right arm. Option here, use your left hand as a little bit of a pillow, so bring it across under the head and feel free to rest your head on it. Now the focus here is really on stretching that shoulder. So don't worry if you've lost a little bit of the bum on heels. We're focusing more on stretching the shoulder here. And with the next breath, see if you can pull those shoulder blades any further apart from each other. See if you can pull that right shoulder blade any further down towards the floor. Slowly increasing the level of stretch we're popping through that muscle. Well done, guys. Keeping it here. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Closing those eyes down if you haven't already, and using this session as our peace and quiet from the world today. And coming through, stretch that left hand back out, right hand goes back in front, left arm tucks under right, and that left shoulder comes down to the floor. Remember, option to use that right hand as a bit of a cushion for the head, but we're now stretching through that left shoulder. I'm just going to come check that we're all okay. Nice, Eleanor. You look very comfy down there. Perfect. Well done, Gemma. And we're going to stay here for quite a bit, again, just as we did on the other side. Stretching through that shoulder. I've said this many a time, but as runners, we neglect stretching our upper body so much. I mean, let's not lie, we neglect stretching our lower as well. But if you think about how much we neglect stretching our lower, I can only imagine how much we neglect stretching our upper. Our shoulders are constantly working in those socket joints, our arms propelling us forwards through our stride. Well done, guys. And stretching the right and left hand back out again into our child's pose once more. Just going to take 4 breaths here together, breathing in for 4 and out for 4. So with me, we're going to breathe in 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in. 3, 2, 1. And sigh it out for me. 3, 2, 1. And in. 3, 2, 1. And out. 3, 2, 1. And in. 3, 2, 1. And out. 3, 2, 1. And final breath in. 3, 2, 1. And out. 3, 2, 1. And coming up over the hands, tuck the toes into a high plank position, lower the knees down, lower the chest to the floor, and bending through, arching through the back, we're going to come up into our cobra. Now, again, this is a little bit of a, why would we stretch like this if we're runners? But this is a really good stretch for our core, which again is really important and often neglected. Our core connects the upper and lower body together, and actually improving core strength and stamina and flexibility and range of motion, it means that our upper and lower body can work more harmoniously together, work more in sync. Now what we're going to do is twist slowly from left to right, taking this stretch through the sides of our core as well, known as our obliques. If you think about how much we rotate as we swing our arms, super important to stretch these out. If you need to shake those wrists off at any point, just lower down to the floor, give them a few rolls, and come back up into your cobra. Well done, Eleanor. Perhaps see how far you can twist, or if you can increase the twist as you go. We're going to come back to this one, so don't worry, you'll have another opportunity as well. Well done, guys. And tucking those toes for me, coming back onto those heels, pushing yourself once more up into that downward dog. Now this time we should be nice and warm, so those heels should hopefully be able to find their way to the floor. Remember, a bend in the knees is absolutely fine. I'm just going to stay here. One more deep hamstring stretch. Our last hamstring stretch for today, you'll be delighted to know. Well done, guys. And coming back down onto those knees, swivel the legs round in front of you for me. So you're sitting on your bum. And we're really simply going to work through a few IT band stretches now. So we're going to start off by just checking our range of motion. So stretching over the feet, just turning from left to right for me. You should start to feel this in the IT band. So you should start to feel this down the outer quadricep. You might feel it quite minimally if you've got really flexible IT bands, but it just helps us get into the motion of stretching them out before we go nice and deep. And in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Tuck the right leg underneath for me. The left leg stays out. Untuck the toe. And now we're going to shuffle the left heel over towards the right hand side and then stretch over to the left for me. So your left leg is out in front but pointed over to the right, and then you're stretching through the left hand side. And you should start to feel this on the outside and also into the back as well. It's quite a tricky area of the IT band to get into. This is a really good stretch for it. If you're finding sitting on your foot a little bit uncomfortable, then just slide your pillow in between your bum and your ankle, and that should make it a little bit more comfortable for you. Basically, whenever you feel uncomfortable when you're stretching, grab a cushion. It will do you lots of favors. Well done, Eleanor. Nice. And if you can, lower yourself down a little bit more, and you should start to feel it a little bit more through the side and through the back. And now start to move that ankle from left to right, moving the foot with it from left to right, and see how that affects the stretch for you. It might not affect it at all, but it also might help you find some places where you're a little bit tight that you didn't realize. If you hit one of those, stop and hold the stretch there. Well done, guys. Great work. Nice, Gemma. Fab. And when we're ready, we're just going to swap over to the other side. So swinging the left leg round behind you, tuck that cushion in if you're going to use it. The right leg comes out in front, heel toeing it over to the left though, so we can lean over the right And we're doing exactly the same again. So the right leg should be out in front, and then we're twisted over to the right hand side. Nice. And exactly the same again. Lower yourself into the stretch and then start moving that foot from left to right and finding those areas of tightness. Finding where your body needs that stretch. Well done, Anna. I think Gem's having a nap. She might be having a nap in her IT band stretch. Perfect. And we're just going to hold here for another 10 seconds. Keep that breathing going, guys. In through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And in 5, in 4, in 3, 2, and 1. Untuck those legs, sit your bum onto your cushion and grab yourself a sip of water. Well done, guys. Great work so far. Hopefully we're starting to feel a little bit more stretched out and relaxed. Now we've got a few more stretches to work through. So first off, we're going to bring the feet together in front of us and we're going to lean over, taking the feet into our hands and pushing the knees as far as the floor is feels comfortable for you. You should start to feel this as a nice stretch, not only in the groin, but also you might feel it in the side of the bum and into the hip at the back as well. Kind of where you would have a little like notch in your hip normally, you might feel a little bit of a stretch in there. If you need, feel free to bounce through this initially. So down and up, down and up until you find a comfortable lower position. Well done. And remembering, as always, to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice and slow. Stretching is a really good time to practice this breathing, as getting it right during stretching is much easier. Your heart rate is lower. And in turn, by practicing your breathing, when it then comes to running, it transfers over to whilst you're running as well. If you have time during your day, I'd really encourage you, perhaps every hour, to just take 1 minute where you just focus, sit, don't look at your computer, maybe turn around, spin your chair around the other way, and just take 5 or 6 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And next time you get to a tough stage in your run, just come back to that moment and remind yourself how to breathe. Well done, guys. And tucking those toes, we're going to bring our cushion out, come back into our high plank position once more, knees to the floor, chest to the floor. And as promised, we're going up into that cobra one last time, moving from left to right, or staying static wherever you need the stretch today. I definitely need it from left to right. Remember, if you need to shake those wrists out, just carefully lower the chest back to the floor, give them a roll, and then come back to it. So we've worked through some nice stretches for the balls of those feet. We've worked through some nice stretches for the calves, everything connecting into that knee joint. And we've worked through some nice stretches for those shoulders and the back as well. Now, after this stretch, we're going to move onto some lying based stretches, which are mainly going to focus on the glutes, but also just help us to relax down for the last 10 minutes of our session and take a little bit of time for ourselves as well. So when you're ready, look, coming back onto those knees, shuffle the legs out in front of you, shimmy forwards, and grab that cushion and use it as a pillow if you like. We're going to come flat onto the floor. Up to you if you want your knees bent or whether you'd like them out straight. We're just going to take a few deep breaths here together. So wherever you feel comfortable. And I'm going to breathe in for 4 and out for 4. Okay, let's go. In we go. 2, 3, 4, and sigh it out. 2, 3, 4, and in. 2, 3, 4, and sigh it away. Feeling those muscles relax more and more each time. And in. And out. Perfect. Well done, guys. Now bringing those feet flat to the floor. We're going to take the left leg across the right knee, leaning forward through the gap, take a hold of the back right of the leg and bring, oh my gosh, that's tight. Bring it in to the chest as far as you can until you feel a stretch through the left glute. Now option, if you're quite flexible through the glutes, add some more distance by putting a little bit of pressure onto the left thigh. But for those of us who are very tight as it is, this should be plenty. And every time you exhale, try and bring that knee, that foot, a little bit closer to the chest, extending the stretch through. Option, hold on to the shin if it's easier for you, but just be careful how much resistance you put onto that shin. Well done, guys. And unraveling those legs. Right leg goes down to the floor, left leg comes up into the chest and stretching through that hip. Option here to give it a few rotations in the socket as well. Remember, if you want to keep your eyes closed for this section of the class, it's absolutely fine. Allow my voice to guide you through these last stretches. Well done. And stopping those rotations, give it another big hug in. And then bringing the left leg to a right angle outside of the body. Now, your knee probably won't touch the floor because you'd be very flexible if it did. But just stretching here, adding a little bit of pressure on the left knee, we're going to feel a nice stretch both through the groin and also through the glute as well. Not one we're going to hold for a long time, but one which is just nice to add in whilst we're here. And bringing the left leg flat, our right leg crosses the left, and we bring that leg in for our glute stretch on the right hand side. Same options as on the other side. Adding the hand to the right thigh if you want a little bit more distance, but just bringing the knee a little bit closer with every exhale. Well done, guys. Great work. Just holding here for another 15 seconds. Getting a really good stretch through that bum. Something that no one mentioned was achy today, which I'm very surprised about. But something that I'm sure probably is. Or if it isn't now, it will be tomorrow if you don't stretch it. Okay, and lowering that left leg flat to the floor, the right knee comes up into that chest for a hug. And adding in those rotations as you wish. And when you're ready, bringing that right leg out to our 90-degree stretch to the side. Again, not holding this for too long, but just long enough to counteract the last few stretches we've done. Option to add that pressure on the right thigh to increase the stretch slightly. Option to have this as a more mobile stretch as well, bringing the knee in and then out again. Totally up to you. Well done, guys. I'm bringing both the knees up into the chest now, giving them a nice big hug. And then on your next exhale, letting everything melt down to the floor. Now taking the right arm across the chest over to the left-hand side. The left arm crosses and we stretch out once more through that right shoulder. Now this should feel a little bit different to how we did our shoulder stretches earlier because we're in a lying position rather than a seated position. But a different position means we target different areas of that muscle. Holding here for me, guys. Well done, Gemma. Well done, Eleanor. Keeping it going. And switching those arms over for me. Left comes over to the right. Right comes up and across and stretching through that left shoulder. And remembering to visualize our fresh oxygen, our breath in, going through to that shoulder joint. Well done. And releasing them off down to the floor. We're going to come into our final stretch of today's session now. Our right leg comes up into our left hand on the outside of the knee. The right arm goes across to the right hand side. Our gaze also goes across to the right hand side. And we gradually bring that right leg over to the left, going into a T-spine rotation. Again, don't worry if you have any little pops or cracks. Really common stretch to hear a lot of cracking going on. Well done. And switching legs now, left arm out to the side, left knee up into the right hand, gaze to the left, and rotating over towards the right hand side for our final spine rotation this evening. And mine definitely did just crack. Sorry about that. Well done. And holding here for 10 more seconds. Breathing in the nose and out of the mouth for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Rolling the legs back flat to the floor. Lift those hands up overhead, point those toes, and give your body the biggest stretch in each direction. Tense every single muscle in that body and release. Well done, guys. Gradually bringing yourself back up to a seated position, keeping those eyes closed, hands onto the knees. And together, we're just going to take a deep breath in and sigh the week away. With me, we breathe in, roll those shoulders back and down, and sigh it out. Gradually blinking those eyes back open. I'm coming over. Grab yourself a little drink of water. Hopefully we're feeling really nice and relaxed after that, guys. No one fell asleep. I'm very impressed. Well done, guys. How did you find today's session? All good? Thumbs up if all good. Fab. Oh, I'm really glad. Well done on all your runs today. In terms of, oh, I'm just going to tilt myself down. There we go. In terms of what we worked through today, we had some really targeted stretches, which are great either for post-run or a deeper stretching session. I always encourage my clients, yes, we should be stretching after our runs, but also getting yourself into 1 or 2 really deep stretching sessions a week as well will do you a lot of favors. So this works really well this Sunday evening for you. Coming up next week, as always, we have Strength for Runners on Tuesday and Thursday, available to book now on the booking portal. And we do have stretching again back on Sunday next week with myself. And as always, on the Sunday afternoon, be popping up a little Instagram story for any aches, pains, or niggles that you've got, so we can work them all out together. Thanks so much for joining me this evening, team. And I really look forward to hopefully seeing you on a class next week. Or if you've got any questions, just drop me a message. You've got my email, you've got my Instagram, everything. So just reach out to me wherever you need. All right. Have a lovely rest of your Sunday evenings. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Lillie.